welcome. It's Shanna. So today I want to bust through this Love from Lizzie paper. It is just gorgeous. And I got this kit from them and I have the materials left from it, and I've decided that I'm going to bust through this paper today and use some of these materials. So I'm just picking out my 6 pattern papers that I want to use, and I'm going to cut this according to Kinder's Card Challenge. And these are larger than 6 by 6, so I'll actually have to cut them down to 6 by 6 and start from there. But I'll save the scraps and use them for some other things. So I've got my 6 pieces of pattern paper here, and they are double-sided, so I can use both sides if I need to. So I'm going to use the guide and cut this. Okay, so I've got everything cut down, and I've got them sorted and into my envelopes so that I have all of the materials together for each card. Now this one here, I'm going to use one of the tags from Love from Lizzie, and I've even got a border strip in here from Love from Lizzie that came in the kit. This had so much fun stuff. Now I'm going to bring in this embossing folder from Spellbinders, and I'm going to emboss my back panel and just add a little extra flair to it. I'll get that lined up straight and we'll run it through the embossing machine. And this looks beautiful. I love the embossed texture on there. And I'm going to just get this glued up and get it laid down on my card base once I can get my glue flowing. And then we'll get this laid down on here. And this is actually a landscape card. So I'm turning my pattern sideways from my embossing folder, but it'll be okay. I'm going to trim that up, and I think that looks really pretty. Now what I'm doing with this blue is I'm going to glue these down and cut an edge so that I've got my layer for these panels. And this was a piece of scrap paper. It's actually part of the cardstock that came in the kit, but I had used it for something else and cut it down, and it wasn't quite an A2 size panel, so I thought it'd be perfect for trimming out the pieces of paper here. So I'm getting it laid down on there, and I only need the layering look on the front edge of it, so that's why I'm lining it right up next to the edge of the paper. And then I'm just using my big Tim Holtz scissors, and I'm trimming that edge on there. And I'll do the same with the other one. I've got a little trimming there on the end to do, and then I'm just going to do the same with this one. This just, to me, makes it easy to layer this out. And there we go. So I'm going to lay this down. I think this is absolutely beautiful with the embossed texture and this lovely floral pattern paper. I think it makes it look very pretty, just like that. When I saw KCC 14, I thought, man, how are we going to cut this? And it's not as hard as it looks, but it's such a different looking sketch. I love it. So I dropped it. Luckily, I didn't do it glue side down and make a mess. And I'm just going to get it laid down on there, and I'm going to do the other one just the same. And then I'm going to use that tag. The sketch actually has like an oval laying on its side, but it said any shape, I think. And I think this tag will work nicely with it. And I need to use these tags. They came in the kit. So I'm trying to just bust through this. I've got the elements of this kit still in the box, and I'm just tired of having the box sit around. So I wanted to just use the materials. Plus, this paper is just so fantastic. And the little items that are in the kit are just so cute, so sweet. So I'm going to get this tag laid down on there, and I've decided I'm going to stamp something on there. And I've got this Gina K stamp. And I'm going to bring in one of the stamps from that, and I'm just going to stamp directly on this tag. This Gina K set here was one of them that I got in my mystery box. So it's likely sold out because I know they were trying to clear them out by putting them in the mystery box. So I'm going to use the smaller sentiment here. And we'll get it stamped down on our tag. I'm going to bring my Misty in, and I'm going to actually grab 3 different inks, and then I decide to go with a blue. So I'm just going to get it laid down on there and position it. And my tag stuck to it. I was trying to get it to lay down in the same spot, but I wasn't successful, so I just tried to stick it back down, and I wanted a little bit higher, so I'm going to just shift it up a little bit, make it a little bit higher, and that'll work. I'm trying to leave a little bit of room here. I'm bringing in my Kitsch Flamingo Sponge Sugar and my Stormy Sky, and I'm going to go with the Stormy Sky and get this inked up. And that looks pretty good, but I'm going to give it another inking. And then I decide that I'm going to heat emboss it. I think it says, "So very blessed," is what the sentiment says. And I'm just going to bring in my Ranger clear embossing powder. And I didn't use my anti-static tool. I never remember to do that. And I'm just going to get my poke tool and just kind of flick away. I'm kind of scraping away at some of the extra pieces and just blowing them off. I'm going to get my mess cleaned up, and then I'm going to put the powder back in there, and then right now I've got my heat gun heating up, so it'd be good and hot. And I'm just going to get this heated up and embossed, and then we'll get it laid down on our card. And I need something for it. I left that space open so that I could put something on there. And I decide I've got these cut-aparts that are part of the kit, and I'm decided that I'm going to use this floral element here, and I'm going to fussy cut it out. So I just got my little scissors, my Cricut scissors, and I'm just quickly cutting this out so that I can use it. And I think it turns out really pretty. I'm glad I used this. And you can see I'm not a fast, fussy cutter or perfect. I don't like it, but it's growing on me. I'm doing a little bit more of it than I like to, and I think I'm kind of getting used to it. So the tag string is too long. I'm going to cut it down, but I'm just trying to figure out how I want this to lay on there. So I get it positioned how I think I want it, and I'm going to go ahead and add some foam squares to it and just pop it up. Just give a little bit of dimension to our card. And I'm going to grab another foam square and just add it on there. And then we'll just kind of pop it up. And that way, since I'm going across different layers, I'll just use that to kind of flatten it out. And I'm fussing with this. I'm just going to cut this tag down to the twine so that it doesn't hang off and I laid that lace aside, and I'm not going to use it on this card, but I'll save it and use it on some of my other cards. So I'm just going to position this exactly how the sketch kind of shows that you have it positioned, and I think it looks beautiful. I'm going to bring in another element from the kit. There were some dots here, some sticker dots, and these are kind of like rhinestones. And I'm just going to get them, 3 of them, and lay it down on here just to have a little bit of bling, little shine to it. And that'll finish off this card. And I was really pleased with it. I think it's really pretty. So let's do card. We're going to do sketch 2. And I've got all my elements. Now this sketch uses the remnants of, what you cut on the first card, the triangles. So I'm going to get all of this embossing powder off of my desk. I keep wiping it and it doesn't seem to go away. So I'm going to lay this down on the pink, and we're going to create our layering look again like we did on the first one. And I'm tucking them up there close because I want to try and save some of that paper. I like to make the most out of the good cardstock, and so I'm going to position it to where I'll have a little bit left that I can use. Maybe I'll die cut something out of it. So we'll bring them big scissors in again and get this trimmed up. There we go. And I'm just going to trim it down to where we have a nice edge. And we'll do the next with the same way. And that'll leave me with a little bit of pattern paper that I can work with. I didn't want to cut, and so I'm doing it in the opposite direction, which is kind of awkward and hard, but I was just trying to save that cardstock. There we go. So now we've got those. I'm going to put it on this till, and we're going to emboss it. And I'm just grabbing a different embossing folder. And I'm kind of going with the floral type embossing folders for this, just to kind of add to it. And I think it really looks pretty. I love the colors of these, of the pattern paper and the cardstock that was included in the kit. Now this cardstock here was included in the kit. I did bring in some of my own Spellbinders paper, but I am using the cardstock that was in the kit as well. Just trying to work through those elements and use them up. And I'm just deciding which triangle I want where based on the design that's on the paper. And we'll get this one laid down. And I think it looks really pretty in and of itself. I thought about just doing the set and not putting any sentiments on them and just adding them later, just putting the paper down and then adding the sentiments later. But I changed my mind and I went ahead and brought in some sentiments that I had ready. And this one's a get well soon. And I want to bring some more of the paper. I'm trying to use up as much as I can. And so I'm going to fussy cut this one out as well. And I decided not to make you watch me fussy cut the whole thing. So I kind of clipped some of that out of the video so you wouldn't have to sit there and watch me fussy cut again. So I'm just trimming up the last little bit of it here. And I'm going to lay this like this and then put my sentiment across it, and I think it'll be really pretty. So we'll just lay this flat, put some glue on it, and lay it flat. And you can see it's got like a yellow striped pattern on the back of it. But I wanted to use these cut aparts. And so I'm going to lay my Get Well Soon over the top of it. I'm going to bring in some strips from scrapbook.com and just pop that up a little bit. if I can get it to stick right. Okay, there we go. And I think that's really pretty as well. So we'll do our third card. And this is the one that has the squares that you turn on it. And I think it'll look really pretty too. Now I'm doing the same thing here. I'm going to try and create my layering border for all of these with this panel here. And I'm trying to decide which one's going to be the main focal point. And I'm going to just lay it down on here, get a nice little edge around there, and then we'll cut this one out. And we're going to do the same with all three of these pieces of paper. So I won't make you watch me do that as well. Okay, so I've got them all cut and layered. I've glued my paper down to the blue, and they're all ready to go. And now we're just going to work on pulling this card and its elements together. So I've got this glitter paper that was in the kit, and I thought I would use it for the base of this card. And so it was slightly smaller. I cut two pieces. I cut it down into two pieces, and it was slightly smaller than my card base. So I'm going to have a little tiny edge of my card base showing around it, and I'm okay with that. That'll be fine. And then we'll bring in our squares and get them laid down on this glitter card panel. And I'm going to figure out my positioning of this and just lay them out, just kind of do like a dry layout. And then once I get them how I think I want them, then I'll start gluing them down. Now, I realized as I was laying that I needed another layer. And so this sheet here of scrap was about the right size for it. So I went ahead and cut it down, and I'm going to layer them on this. I almost was thinking about gluing them on that glitter, and then I realized I was supposed to have another layer. So now I'm going to get them positioned. And actually this works better because you've got to cut the edges off of them. And so I don't know what I would have done had I glued them on that glitter piece. I would have had to figure out how to make it work. But anyway, so now we're going to get them all positioned how I think I want them. And then we'll glue them down, and then we will cut off the backs, and we're going to use the pieces that we cut off to fill in the rest of the card. Now, I don't know how I laid these down, but I did not lay these down like this. I had a big gap once I laid them down, so I'm going to watch and see what I did here. So this piece here is kind of my focal point. I think I moved that just enough that it's going to create that gap that I'm talking about. Because it's too high for my bottom piece. And I think that's where I kind of created the gap. Yeah, because then I shift that one over. Yeah, that biggest panel, the focal image, I just shifted it just enough to where I'm going to have a gap. But that's okay. I figure out how to work with it. So now I've got to cut some of these off so that I'll have a piece to lay in that open space. And I'm just going to trim them. And there we go. And then I'm going to bring that bigger piece that I trimmed off and try to fill some of that. But you can see I've got like a big wide open space there. And just by shifting that, I kind of rotated that one panel, I think, and that's what created it. So these things happen, and I'm just going to work with it. I'll cover that up with my cinnamon or whatever I decide to put on there. And I think this is a fun pattern. This sketch is fun too. So we'll glue it up and get it done. And you've got a lot of wiggle room on that glitter because it takes a minute for that to adhere. And I'm just pressing it down, trying to get a good stick on it since I've got the glitter cardstock there. And I'm going to find something to use. And I've decided I'll use another tag and just cover that up. That way you won't see my mistake. And I'm going to tie this up, and I'll ultimately wind up cutting it off. The kit had 2 of these tags in, and I've used them both on these cards. And it also had the cutest 2 little envelopes in it. And I haven't used those yet, but they are just so cute because they're little tiny envelopes, and I think they're super cute. So I'm going to do some more fussy cutting. Oh, actually, I don't. I'm going to die cut this out and just use a little circle for it. Now this is where I decide I'm going to cut this twine off of there because there was also some ribbon that was included in this kit. And so I'm going to grab some of the ribbon and use it. And I think I just settle on the purple. And I've got a full piece of this. I hadn't got into it. And I'm just going to use a little bit of it so that I can keep the ribbon and use it for other products as well. So I'll just kind of even this up and feed it through. And then this will be really pretty. I think this, the ribbon I think is more suitable to the style of card than the twine. So I probably should have done that on the first card as well, but I didn't think about it until just now. So I'm going to tie a knot in there so it doesn't come undone. And then we're going to lay our circle die cut flower on our tag. And I'm looking, I decided that I was going to back the tag just for some additional interest. And I knew I had at least a little piece of that pink patterned paper that I had used on this card. So I was going to bring it in and just lay it down. And then I'm going to pop up my flower with those little foam pieces. And we'll get this laid down on there. And this is just going to be a note card. I'm not going to put a sentiment on it. I'm just going to make it a little note card that you could use to just send a little note to someone. And I think it's just really pretty. Now, I think what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to maybe make a box set with these, and make a box and put all these cards in there together. And I think it'll be a pretty set. So I think these are lovely. I hope you liked it. I appreciate you watching, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.